Travis Wingoodsill. So I had a person who is not affiliated with the church and is an outsider, but has heard of the church and has been trying to get my take on it, because it's different than ex-Mormons as well as Mormons. And he finally apparently concluded, and he insulted me. He wasn't paying attention to what I was saying. See, these aren't my scientific theses being portrayed in video form. This is me as a human being talking to you as human beings, trying to reason with you about what I have learned from thesis type work, doing actual scientific research and investigation into the church history and into other areas in Mormonism. And I don't think he caught on to that concept, that you have to use science when you're investigating. As missionaries, we go out and we don't tell them to use science. We tell them to use their feelings. Yeah. And he thinks I still have baggage from the church. I did the videos talking about the baggage of the church and how I tried to analyze, am I acting this way because of my upbringing as Mormon, or am I acting this way because I've reevaluated it and have realized that it's a good thing to do, such as my steps to help you get out of the church. I had you suggest a new morality, because the church's morality is all screwed up. You can't trust it. So you have to discard all of it and come up with a new one, and I recommended don't commit crime. He apparently missed that video too. And he says he doesn't think I want to admit that I've been fooled by the church. And again, he fell for the trap that Brigham Young set, because he doesn't bring up Brigham Young. He brings up Joseph Smith in the Book of Mormon. I keep warning you guys. Brigham Young is the bad guy. He's the villain of the story here. I did the research. Brigham Young purposely joined to overthrow it. I did the research to check. Okay, is Joseph Smith pulling a con? If so, I need to know. And it turned out that it was completely different than what I'd ever believed possible. That's what happens when you do real science investigation, is that people's beliefs and opinions get thrown away, and the truth is left pure and straightforward, so that there can be no doubt. And so how can I get across to people who aren't willing to do what it takes to learn the truth, who just are settled in their opinion and will be open-minded, but not really, because they conclude with their biased opinion in the end anyway? No, science, guys. Science. Look for patterns. Look for what's the same. That's what I've been doing with you with Deuteronomy chapter 18, verses 15 through 18. There's a pattern throughout all of Joseph Smith's works and in the Book of Mormon. I've been going over that pattern with you. There's a reason. And the church doesn't want you to know about it. And I can even talk about how we got that passage in Deuteronomy. We got the book of Deuteronomy to work on when I used to work as a church service missionary for the church, revising the footnotes for the foreign language editions with the guide to the scriptures. We're supposed to replace the Bible dictionary, topical guide, with the guide to the scriptures. And I was on the top committee because I had the golden ticket. gone over these videos, and maybe it's been a while. Maybe these guys, I mean, he definitely doesn't know about that. I'm sure he didn't go back into my past videos to find it. YouTube's not too willing to show my past videos. But those people who do the manuals, who do the footnotes, are the most intelligent in the church. And so if you're looking for somebody in authority to leave the church to justify it not being true, nah, those guys don't have any knowledge. They're just position of rank. What you're looking for is someone who's intellectual, who's smart with Mormonism, who then leaves. And you're not doing that. You've been fooled by the church as to what to look for. And because the prophets, they come to guys like me. Not me per se, but the position I was in, those guys. And when we got to this passage, this page, David Gaunt, and many of you who are born and raised Mormon, if you were living over in, I think he taught seminary in Sandy, where he lives, you would know him. You go, oh, I know David Gaunt. If you're at, I think he even does classes now, if he's still doing it. He probably will, probably do it till he dies. I don't think the church has a retirement age for seminary teachers. But I think he goes to the University of Utah also to teach at that seminary building. But yeah, he said it's Jesus. Case closed. And it didn't matter if we knew it was somebody else, because James Baker and I were already talking about somebody else. And how Avraham Gileadi, I think it is, was excommunicated because he was talking about somebody else. And so David Gaunt laid down the gauntlet. It's Jesus. And so that's the end of the discussion, because we had as a policy, they made us do according to section 107 about only having unanimous approval for things to get passed. And so if there was one in our group who disapproved of a change, then it doesn't go through. It has to be a unanimous decision. And so David Gaunt, to bypass my disapprovals for his changes, paired our group into two. He took James Baker, and I took Paul. As Paul would see on the original papers that we had to review, my signature at the bottom. Oh, you did this paper. No need to look at it. It's good. But when I tell you guys that the church rejected a lot of the stuff that I recommended be changed, that's what I'm referring to, is that mission call that I was a part of. I made the changes in the footnotes because that's what they're supposed to be, and they rejected them outright. And it's Cornerstone Capstone is the most popular one. That Nelson came out with the idol god Jesus for Mormons and said the chief cornerstone of the cornerstone. Dear God. And so, yeah, you guys need to listen, because there's background information that I'm talking about that explains what I'm telling you guys. You're only hearing my conclusions. You're not hearing the work that I did to get there. I'm not presenting you the evidence. I'm not presenting you the method and the theory behind it all. For the most part. Sometimes I'll slip it in pictures for you, but no, I'm just a human being talking to you as human beings, and you disrespect me. And so what the hell is going on with all the announcements? Go away. And so he thinks, therefore, that because I've been fooled and I'm embarrassed and ashamed, and I'm trying to develop some kind of apologist excuse. That's what apologists do. He's now likening me unto an apologist. That's an insult. They don't use science. They don't use logic. They use fallacy argument to defend the church at all costs, to lie and deceive Mormons, and they're very good at it. But to say that I am, dear God, he wasted his time. And so let's go over. Joseph Smith, did he write the Book of Mormon? Yes or no? No, you're not supposed to answer quickly. You're supposed to go over the evidence. Did you not learn from me? What if I were to suggest that Sidney Rigdon is the major author of the Book of Mormon? So who wrote the Book of Mormon now? Well, you just pick and choose, huh? Whatever saves your faith, so you don't have a faith crisis, as he's claiming I'm trying to avoid a faith crisis. I told you guys in videos, science saved me from the faith crisis. Because I knew that science would tell me the truth. And the truth sets you free. And I've learned that in my life, that it's true. And so I don't fear going into the darkness for what may be scary.
You have a guest at the front desk. Cody Mellon, you have a guest at the front desk. Thank you.
Oh, dear God. This is just so inadequate for video making. Can't begin to tell you. And so he then tries to empathize. To be deceived is a hard pill to swallow, especially in matters of faith. Yeah, I got bleeps to give you. I mean, dear God. I mean, he never cared to watch the videos or search for the videos that would answer his questions. He would just ask me questions, and I was nice enough to respond if I didn't know of the specific video that would explain it all. But yeah, and so the science. What does the science say? Well, the science says is that there are dozens of contemporary books that were incorporated in the Book of Mormon. And I've gone over with you, I'm the one who's added to that list of books. I added to it with Jewish mystical stuff. And as a result, I was able to conclude that Joseph Smith Sr. rewrote the 116 pages. This is not my opinion. This is not my belief. This is not some story I make up to tell myself that the church is still somehow redeemable, as this guy claims. That's what happened. That's the reality. And so, Joseph Smith's words. He says he translated it by the gift and power of God. Doesn't matter. That's all hearsay. That's not evidence. Because what I've learned is that what Joseph Smith is saying is what's called messianic literature. Fictional prophecy. And I've gone over it with you in specific detail. He likens both Amun and Sun Amun as the sun at noonday. He likens Nephi, because I remind you, Joseph Smith papers, those are the authoritative sources. Nephi is described as being like the sun at noonday. Amen. It's just one of those days where everybody seems to be against you, and they have no connection to me. It's just they're doing their own thing, and it's just the wrong timing. But yeah, you guys are way behind me in knowledge, and the church knew it when they hired me. Well, they didn't really hire. I didn't get paid. It was a church service mission. They came to me, and because I was divorced, Hinckley had to sign off on me. And so they thought it's Jesus, and so therefore I got the golden ticket. So when Farms found out that I was doing this work, they tried to get me fired. And the supervisor said, no, I can't. Hinckley approved him. And so yeah, the Farms guys, they weren't in the top group. No, I was. But David Gaunt was the one who held back a lot of knowledge from you guys. And he technically is the one responsible for Nelson making a fool of himself at the Pulpit of Conference. So those of you who know David Gaunt, blame him. He's the one responsible. Nelson, when those people return and report to you about my video that I did here, it's David Gaunt. He's the one that made you look like a fool. I made the changes. I was going to save you from making you look like a fool. I didn't even know you were the false prophet prophesied by John yet. But, yeah. So, yeah, Joseph Smith is not anything. And the reason why is because he had the plates. They didn't exist. They were gold plates, 200 pounds. Not real. Remember? Visions. Messianic literature. And so he's copying the characters. Yeah. He has the original manuscript that was incomplete. The 116 pages. That's all he had. And he was copying the 116 pages so that the original 116 pages can go back to the rest of the book that's being written by Sidney. Now, how do we know it's Sidney? Because linguistic science did a linguistic analysis of the Book of Mormon and found that among the plagiarisms there was the writing style, the like verbal style, writing style. We communicate in a unique manner, different from other people, even though the public school system tries to teach us to conform and comply to one particular writing style. See Dick Run. But each of us has our own unique pattern of speech and grammar construction of our sentences. And so that's what they were able to utilize and find out that Sidney Rigdon's the major author of the Book of Mormon. And so that ends debate right there. We don't know how he did it, how he got a hold of it, how he was connected to the Smiths. All we know is Sidney Rigdon is the major author. All the other stuff we have to do the research on. I did it, but you guys need to do it. And so any ex-Mormon, even Mormon, who claims Joseph Smith wrote the Book of Mormon is wrong. It's that simple. The case is closed. It's Sidney Rigdon is the major author. And so you're pulling what Mr. Blue is accusing me of falsely, if you still cling to Joseph Smith as the major author. And so there's others, Parley P. Pratt and Oliver Cowdery have been found. I'm the one who knew that Joseph Smith Sr. had rewritten the 116 pages. All that work that William Morgan did while in Canandaigua, New York, wasted because of Junior. And what was Junior doing then? Well, he was with Martin Harris. Who was Martin Harris? He was the money to pay for the book. He wanted to see the plates. They don't exist. What are we going to do? I know. Joseph knows them from working on his farm. And he had a rock and a hat. Entertain him, Joseph. Distract him. Keep him occupied. Here's the 116 pages before he comes. Copy them down. And then you can read it to him and he can think that he's helping with the translation. You see the difference once you know the truths, the facts, the evidence, and you put those together, a new story develops. And this guy just didn't get that from the few videos that he was watching. And so there's more to it, obviously, than what I told you. But I hope you understand, ex-Mormons, you have to accept reality as well. You can't let your bias change you and change history, because you're automatically wrong once you use your bias, as he understands, but made the wrong assumption about me. And so that's what I was talking about in my other video, about ex-Mormons working together, putting the pieces of the puzzle. Because if we were doing this, there would be nobody coming out with new videos saying Joseph Smith is the author of the Book of Mormon. And thus we can correct those who are not Mormon at all, who are learning about the church. That they will get the correct information. Joseph Smith had nothing to do with the composition of the Book of Mormon. Oh, really? Well, that's strange. Well, what was it about? Well, it was Messianic literature. What? He was a Jew? Yeah. He wasn't Christian. Well, what happened? Well, you see, there's this guy named Brigham. He's a very evil man. Big difference. So it begins by focusing on the science and using the evidence and the facts. And so I just, what more do I say? How do I get this through to people? I don't know.